mindset, marketing, and selling. So we have got a lot to get through, so let's get cracking. What's the difference between marketing and selling then? Well, marketing is reaching the people who need you in a way that makes them choose you. Now, you already know that because I have already been through that with you. Selling is the piece right at the end of the marketing process, which is essentially getting their commitment, so important, and taking payment. In short, it usually involves asking for the business. And of course, that's the bit that makes everybody go funny. They're, ooh, I don't like asking for the money. But, if that is you, and this might sound a bit brutal, you need to get over it because you cannot run a business unless you can ask for money. So in order for you to get over it, we are going to reframe it because, like it or not, if you want to truly build a successful business, you need to be selling yourself, your ideas and your services, and eventually products all the time. The fact is, we are selling all the time anyway. The minute you walk in the room, you're selling. Before you open your mouth, you are selling. And if selling has anything to do with influencing, which it does, you really are selling all the time. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. Do you love what you do? I should hope so. Do you believe that what you do is worthwhile? Do you believe you can have a hugely positive influence on people's lives? Do you believe that there are people out there who really need what you have to offer? Do you or do you not have some skills that can help others? Do you or do you not have some examples of people you have helped successfully? Do you or do you not want to make a good living from those skills? Well, if the answer is no, then clearly, you're probably in the wrong job. But if the answer is yes, which we really hope it is, then you have no right to hide your light under a bushel, which is what so many therapists do. In fact, I really strongly believe, we both strongly believe, that you have a duty to get out and let the world know. You see, you have got so much to offer the world. And if you don't go out and sell what you have to offer, if you don't make people's lives better when you know you can and have trained to do it, then who is that benefiting? No one. If you don't ask for the money, the answer is already no. And that's what the selling mindset is all about. It's about seeing selling as the highest level of service. It's about seeing selling as a fundamental and vital part of helping the community you serve. It's about building a business that will support you, and not only you, but the people who desperately need your help. It's about helping people to overcome whatever issues are holding them back. It's about helping them to live the life that they want and that you want. And ultimately, it is about making people's dreams come true. So then, if that is really the case about what you are offering, then what is it that stops us from asking for the business? Is it fear of rejection? Perhaps it's fear of success, which is just as real as the fear of rejection. Perhaps you feel like you should be helping people and perhaps not asking them to pay for that help. Perhaps you feel bad that your clients can't afford it. I mean, maybe you're making an assumption that they can't afford it. Perhaps you're worried about what other people think. Well, he's only interested in the money, not his clients. Perhaps you don't believe in yourself. or maybe it's something else. You know, the truth is that many of us have issues around money that we really need to get over if we're going to be successful as we can be. So whatever your personal beliefs about money, we want to share next the 6 money beliefs that have helped us and many of the business owners that we've worked with along the way. So firstly, wanting money does not mean that you are suddenly going to stop caring about your clients. Yes, there are people who care more about their money than the client, or they certainly appear to, but they are totally few and far between. And that doesn't mean that you do or ever will. You need to make it your business to separate the money issue from serving your client. Always provide value to your client. Secondly, you can do a lot more good in the world when you have money than when you don't. You know, and I think we forget that. Think big. When you've got the money that you really want to have, just think what you can do to support people who really need your skills. If you charge properly, you are going to be able to help far more people in the long run. We have big dreams about who we can help when we've made the money that we need to make. And, you know, how much more difference in the world can you make funding a project than you can make working one-to-one? And that's about dreaming big. So, of course, you know, you might want to give your time for free, and that's absolutely fine. But keep your money-making activities and your charity activity separate. Your business is not a charity. Please remember that. Your business is not a charity. And of course, we are talking to those of you who don't just want a hobby. And if you don't want a hobby, please don't give your time away. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. Please remember that rejection, when people don't want your business to use you as their therapist, it's not personal. You know, there are so many reasons why people say no, and the vast majority are about them, not you. We're going to look into those in the next video. You know, if you ever have a problem with rejection and you want to get over it, which most of us do, then there's an exercise that we went through when we were in the States, actually doing some personal development work ourselves. We're in a 3-day workshop in Los Angeles. And one of the exercises was to go out and meet people and ask for money for something, for a real thing, until you have 10 no's. You know, so try that. You know, go out with your focus of collecting a no. I mean, that's a very, very good way of reframing being rejected, because the victory becomes the rejection. It's quite weird what that does to you. But I mean, you know, it does sound rather strange. And, you know, some of you might think, well, if you go out expecting rejection, then you'll get it. And of course, you're right. But the exercise is designed to get you over your fear of people saying no. And it sure does work. And the funny thing, of course, is that in your quest for 10 rejections, people will say yes. And, that was happening in this workshop. And it was so funny because people were like, oh no, someone said yes. Oh, hang on, that's a good thing. It's quite funny. Okay, so fourthly, if you are not confident in asking for money, you will convert far fewer people. Okay, that's a fact. Confidence is a huge thing in terms of people buying your stuff. So, and the reason it's a big thing is because if you're not confident in asking for the money, your client may make the assumption that you're not confident in your ability to help them. And obviously that would be wrong. So if you don't feel confident, then act as if. Remind yourself of the reasons that you do what you do, that you are good at what you do, that you can help them, and then ask. Most people have to do a little bit of acting in the sales process at first. And the more times you act confidently, the more confidence you will really feel. And, in the therapeutic relationship, the confidence of the therapist, it is proven that the confidence of the therapist acts as a placebo to the client. So your own confidence is super important. Next, most people value help more highly when they're paying for it. Yes, it is true. If we're given something, we will, of course, appreciate it. Most of us will, but we won't have anything invested in it. And there's nothing like paying for something to make you actually do something about it. When we made our first decision to join a very high ticket, I hate that expression, but you know what I mean, expensive, basically, mastermind group in the States, we made huge leaps in our business because of the very act of actually handing over a large amount of money. Next, if you don't ask, your client will go somewhere else. And that somewhere else may be inferior to what you're offering. They want help. You've sown the seeds. And then they're going to look elsewhere if you don't ask. So that is not the best way to serve your clients. And the bottom line is that if you understand your client and their needs, and you genuinely know that you can help them if you work with them, then not asking them to work with you is not doing them a service. And I want you to keep reminding yourself, asking for the sale, for the business, is doing your client a service because they need your help. So what is selling then? Well, one of your roles is selling when you have a business, whether you like it or not. And the good news is that sales is easy when you see it in terms of simply providing your service to as many people as you can to make the most difference you can. And that's the point, isn't it? Selling is simply an exchange of energy, an exchange of one thing for another. When you buy a coffee in a cafe, the barista doesn't go all weird when they ask you to pay for it. But, that happens to us sometimes, where our energy changes when we ask for the money. We're like, ooh. So your energy needs to not change. And the trick is to ask for the money with the same energy as you would talk about your work. And it really works. That was one of the best tips I was ever given, ever. So please pay attention to that. Well, and meanwhile, your prospect isn't thinking about selling. They are thinking about buying. Okay. And I want you to consider this. The client has a process for buying and a process for not buying. That's it. And the process for not buying is the one that will win unless you completely understand that prospect and can align what you have with what is already going on in their mind. And that's where we're going next with this. We're not trying to convince them of anything. That is a hiding to nothing. We have to make all the conditions right so that it is more compelling for them to take the buying route rather than the not buying route. So I want to just talk about why people buy anything. So why do they buy any stuff at all? So in most cases, any purchase is motivated by a need and or a want. Usually it's a combination of the two with, one or the other being dominant. And, so for example, we buy insurance because we need to, it's the law, and a bottle of perfume because we want to. So in the Western world, people generally buy something because they want to. We're very lucky. Even essential products, we choose to buy the brand that we want. We need or want the product, but we want the brand. And most of us, I don't want to get too political, but we don't really need most of the things that we buy. So I want you to just think about what happens to you when you buy something that you need but don't want. Like insurance, for example. Most of us harbour some kind of resentment when we have to pay utility bills or buy car or home insurance, something like that. The fact is that when we don't want something, but we have to buy it because we need it, the buying experience is a lot less pleasant. So what about if it's the other way round? What if you want something and don't need it? What happens in your mind if you buy that thing? Just think about it for a second. What if you just bought like a new, new bit of clothing, in the sale because you just really fancied it? Well, what we do is we justify our purchase to ourselves. And this happens regardless, by the way, of the wealth of the purchaser. Even if you've got all the money in the world, you still do this. It's psychology. So you will recognize this in yourself, I'm sure. You buy something that you fancy, like a piece of electronic gadgetry or something. You love it. It makes you feel good. And then you start to justify it with logic. You sort of, you say things like to yourself, like, well, I did need it really. And it'll be, oh my God, it'll be so helpful. I can't believe I didn't buy it before. So the question is, how does this apply to therapy? Well, what are the lessons here when it comes to positioning therapy? This is what we're doing, understanding the process of buying and selling so that we can apply it to our marketing sales message. Our clients must be convinced that they both need what we provide and that they want it. And the question is, how do we position our service so that people want it? And the good news is it's easier than you think. So we are back to the iceberg again. We love that iceberg. Most of the reasons that people buy anything are emotional. It's commonly thought that 90% of our decision to buy or not buy is emotional and irrational. And only 10% is logical. So that 10% is above the waterline. So that equates to the work that we've done already, the 90% being the below the waterline information. And of course, the first irrational thing is that people buy people. We absolutely need to speak to the emotional needs and wants of our clients if we're going to be successful in selling our services to them. And because we're emotional in our buying choices, it's crucial that you build a relationship with them. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. And we are heavily influenced by the person who is selling to us. I wonder if you've ever made a decision to buy or to not buy from someone because you didn't like them, or bought something that wasn't even quite right because you liked the person so much. I bought a pair of shoes that were the wrong size and the wrong color once because the salesperson was so fabulous. I mean, how ridiculous is that? And this is really the reason why we've spent so long getting you to understand and identify your ideal client, because you already, through those exercises, have a good idea of the hot buttons of your clients, although we haven't actually specifically called them hot buttons up to this point. And remember that people investing in therapy is already wrapped up in a lot of emotion. So let's look at emotion and logic in the buying process. People make buying decisions according to emotional factors. And as I've said, they need logical reasons to justify what they really feel like doing. So when we recognize this, we need to connect our potential clients' emotions and their logic. Now, it might sound basic, but when you get clear on this, your ability to get business will fundamentally change. You'll be able to connect what you've got with the emotional needs and wants of your clients and potential clients, and really differentiate yourself in that way. And, by the way, it doesn't matter what you're selling and who you're selling it to, you need to do this. If you sell therapeutic services to the corporate market, so some of you do, you're going to stand out even more, because so many people think that you don't need to make a connection with the emotions of the corporate buyer. But oh my goodness, you do. So we make a connection with emotions by selling the benefits of what we offer rather than the features. So let me explain what's the difference between a feature and a benefit. Well, it's summed up by this rather brutal statement from Charles Revson, who was the founder of Revlon. I don't know why they changed his surname, but there we go, they did. So what he said was, in the factory, we manufacture cosmetics, and in the pharmacy, we sell hope. So let's talk about the difference between feature, logical benefit, and emotional benefit. The features of a product or service are the facts about it. So, for example, feature, we design and maintain websites. The logical benefit tells the client a bit more about that. So that would be, we create websites that reflect your brand and drive traffic. So you'll see you can kind of get hold of it a bit more and makes more sense and has more meaning. So then the emotional benefit is the emotional connection with the client. It speaks to the purpose of it all. So the emotional benefit in this example would be, this means you can leave all website issues to us and concentrate on building the business that you want. And of course, what that does is it makes you go, oh, phew. It makes you have an emotional response that's positive when you are literally told the emotional benefits. Really important. We can't let the clients make their own connection, because they won't. Now, I've written here, so what? Simply talking about features in the hope that your client will make the connection does not work. Never assume that the client will make the connection with themselves between the feature, what you do, and the benefits, what it means to themselves. It's a really dangerous thing to do, because you just won't connect with them. And if you don't connect with them, you won't sell your therapy. So you need to keep checking. And the best way to do that is use the so what test. This, in fact, I have to credit my English A-level teacher for this all those years ago, because she used to write so what in the margin in every essay I ever wrote. And it is a great test. Okay. It's very easy. All you have to do is check that your ideal client cannot at any point find themselves thinking, so what? So the phrase you have in your own mind that helps you to link features to benefits and the result that your client will get is, which means that. So you've got to think about that all the time. Let's go through some examples. Okay, here's an example. I have a course where you can learn about dogs' body language. So what? Which means that you will understand what signals your dog and other dogs are sending both to you and other dogs. Yeah, and so what? So that you can deepen your relationship with your dog and keep him safe from aggressive dogs. Hooray! Next one. I have a process for measuring the nutritional value of the food that the elderly residents of your care home are eating. Yeah, so what? which means that you will always know that they're getting the nutrition that they need to keep well. Keep going. And you will be confident and secure in the knowledge that you are avoiding the appalling situation of having elderly residents in your care who are suffering from malnourishment, even though you don't realize it. Do you notice how powerful that is when we really ram the emotional benefit home? It's so important to make that connection. Imagine if I just said, oh God, I'm so excited about my product. It's how you can measure the nutritional value of food that elderly residents in your care home are eating. Doesn't have any connection, does it? And if you go, people don't really even realize those benefits. And so you can see how powerful that is when you really state it in words that are very easily understood. Okay, so here's another one. We have a closed Facebook group for members only. Yes, and which means that you can stay connected to the community of people who all have similar outcomes to you so that you can get help and advice from others. Some people might leave it there and move more quickly towards growing the passive income that you need to live the life you want. So just please remember that connecting with your client's emotions is of paramount importance. And there's two other things that we want you to pay attention to too. First one is pain or pleasure. Essentially, all products and services help the client either avoid some kind of pain or go towards some kind of pleasure. Why do we buy car breakdown cover? Well, that's to avoid having to be stuck on the side of a motorway in the snow with two small children in the middle of the night, not knowing what to do, which has happened to me. That is to avoid pain. Why do we buy gifts for loved ones? Well, to have the pleasure of giving to others to make them feel good. So that's a towards pleasure. And a lot of services and products operate at both ends of this spectrum, and it depends on the motivation of the client as to whether they are avoiding pain or getting pleasure from somebody. So personally, me and my family, we go on holiday because we want to have a fun time and have adventures. But some people will go on holiday to get away from it all. So it's important to pay attention to the language that your clients will be talking about their own issues with. Now, you will have noticed that the emotional benefit will connect with the hopes and dreams and or the fears and frustrations of your ideal client. Now, you've done that. You've addressed that already. And you have done that, in fact, a few times in the foundation step of the client attraction system. So now we're digging a little deeper. How do we connect our services with the fundamental hopes and dreams and fears and frustrations of our clients? What we're aiming for is for our clients to have a sense of relief that they've found us if we're solving a problem, and a feeling of excitement and energy if we're taking them towards their dreams. Remember that as a general rule, avoiding pain is a stronger motivator than moving towards pleasure. So emotional hot buttons then. Remember too that all human beings only ever buy anything to serve fundamental desires. Health, wealth, happiness, fear, guilt, personal growth, spiritual connection, competition, profit, acquisition, pleasure, community, friendship and love, security, safety, convenience, time and effort, ego, status, prestige. And my question is, which ones of those, because that pretty much covers everything, do they serve? All of them are either things we want to avoid, fear of anything, guilt, lack of love, wasting time, effort, things we want, or they are things that we want more of, more profit, more pleasure, more entertainment, more time, more love. You may, of course, utilize both depending on your specialism and the type of client you're appealing to. Whatever you do, they need to be weaved into your marketing messages in the forms of benefits and results that you can deliver. And, we're going to do lots more of this. So if it isn't completely clear right now, please don't worry, because we're going to do lots more. And of course, remember that you get all the help that you need in the dedicated Facebook group. So any languaging, any messaging that you want to test out, please just put it into the group. So now it's your turn. We've put a detailed case study of how to use your ideal client profile and then apply the strategy of features, logical and emotional benefits into the vault for you. It's not an example from the world of therapy, and we've done that on purpose because obviously if we did it from therapy, we'd have to pick one and then it wouldn't be fair on other people. But we want you to pay attention to the way in which that ideal client is described and the way in which the features of the service, in this case, landscape garden design, are linked to the emotional hot buttons. So go and study it now. It's in the vault. And then write down what you offer and how it benefits your clients. So you'll find a copy of this exercise below the video for you to download. And as you do this exercise, keep thinking about your ideal client and pay special attention to the features in your offering that are unique to you. What does your service do that your client doesn't even know about yet? I will see you in the next video where we are going to tackle those all-important objections. So why wouldn't a client buy from you? Enjoy the exercise.